What's up guys, my name is Brandon and I've been using iOS 15 Beta 1 all week long on several devices, including my main device, the iPhone 12 Pro. I've been using it on this 12 Pro Max, the iPad Pro, the iPhone 6s, several devices, and in this video, I wanted to share even more new features and changes found here in Beta 1, along with an update on how it has been running in terms of the performance, the battery life, the bugs, the connectivity, basically everything you guys wanted to know about this first beta. And if you guys missed my initial coverage on iOS 15 and iPadOS 15, make sure you watch those videos. I showed over 100 combined new features in the software, and if you didn't see those are linked up in the cards and down in the description below. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about some new features and changes before we move on to the battery life, the performance, when we can expect beta 2 and the public beta. We'll talk about all that later on in this video. Of course, timestamps are down below, but we're going to start with even more new features and changes here in iOS 15 because Apple did not even talk about 10%, not even 5% probably, of the new features and changes that are actually included in this software update. A lot of people don't realize just how many things have changed. And the first thing we're going to talk about is perhaps the biggest new feature in iOS 15, and that is live text. So this is only available for A12 and newer devices. And basically what this does is you can scan text and your phone will be able to pick it up when you see this little icon down here in the bottom right hand corner. When you tap on that, you can see it can pick it up right here and you can copy the text. You can kind of, go in between here and select what you want. You can copy and paste it into like a note or whatever you want to, but there are even more changes in this that I did not realized before. So you can actually see this in screenshots. If I go to like a screenshot, so like say I have a screenshot here and there's a bunch of data on here that I wish I could just convert to text, I can actually do that. So you can see this is just a screenshot I took from an email and I have the little live text icon down there in the bottom right. You can see I can go in here and select whatever I want from a screenshot. You don't actually have to hold your phone up to something. You can take a screenshot of it and use the live text feature as well. Now also when you take a picture of something, your phone can actually identify what it is and even links to buy it. So like for example, I took a picture of this book right here, and if we swipe up, so you can see you can actually live text on that as well and get that text out of there. But if you swipe up, you will actually see this little icon over top of the original image there. And if you tap on that, it shows book, and it shows lookup shows personalized suggestions from the web, iTunes, and App Store, and you can adjust this in settings. So if you go to continue right here, you will see there's actually going to be a link where I can buy this. There's also, this in the bookstore and Siri suggested websites right here, which is really cool. And you can even do this for plants as well. So if there's a plant right here, your iPhone can actually identify what type of plant that is. So if you took a picture of it, you can see that little plant icons right there. If you tap on that, it will show what it thinks that plant is. And I found this to be actually pretty accurate. So it shows it's hibiscus, which it actually is, and it's more accurate than I thought it would be, especially for a first beta. So pretty impressive with live text. And also when you scan a QR code, there is a new UI as well. So if I go back to my camera right here, so I have my little business card right here, and you can see when I go to scan this QR code, it actually shows what the link goes to before you even pull it up. So as it's hovering over that, you can see it actually says YouTube right there. So it kind of gives you a preview as to what site it's going to take you to before you actually go onto it, which could be a good precautionary like safety thing as well. And overall, I've found that live text actually works pretty well. Now it is inaccurate sometimes, but it's more accurate than not, most of the time. So as long as the text is clear, I've found that handwriting gives me some issues sometimes and it just doesn't really pick up. It's not very accurate in what it picks up because handwriting is a lot harder to read than print. So just keep that in mind, but it is very useful. And of course you can call phone numbers, go to websites, everything from live text. Now, speaking of the camera and images, there's also a new feature in iOS 15 where it shows where a video was saved from or a photo was saved from. So you can see this was saved from TikTok. And if I swipe up right there, you can see it actually shows saved from TikTok. And you can tap on that and it shows you all the other photos or videos that were saved from that application. So that is new in iOS 15. Now we also have some nice changes to the Maps application. So we have some new UI elements all throughout this Maps application in iOS 15, but we also have a new animation when you go to navigate somewhere. So take a look at that. It shows you the different routes and that whole animation is new and it looks really clean. You can kind of tap on it and you can tap on this. That's a new animation where it kind of shakes there on Trader Joe's, and that's new in iOS 15. I just found that today. We also have a couple of changes inside of the Messages application. So when you get an image right here and you tap and hold, you can see there is a slightly new animation there. It goes to the right, and also for the reactions, that's a little bit off. I believe that is a bug where it's not even really facing the image. It's kind of off to the left instead of to the right. And if you're in a group chat and you tap on the group chat up top and then go down, you can see there is a new UI here to show the amount of people in the group chat and everybody's contact information. And it's actually not going all the way down. It's more compact now, and you have to tap on this to see all of the contacts inside of that group chat. Inside of the mail application, we have a new unsubscribe banner up top. So if you are on a newsletter, you get a quick and easy action to unsubscribe if you would like to, and that UI just looks a little bit different as well. And a small thing I noticed inside of the phone application is when you tap on the mute button on a regular phone call, you actually get a system sound now. So you get a sound like you would in like a FaceTime call. Now in the actual phone application, on an actual phone call, not a FaceTime call, when you tap on mute, you get a system sound, and you will hear that in iOS 15. We also have some changes inside of the wallet application. So you can see the search is a little bit more bold right there. All these buttons are more bold. And we also have this new button up in the top right for the card info. So if you tap on that and you put in your Face ID, it will show your card information right there. So a quick and easy way to get to your card info for Apple Pay is really nice, and the Apple Card specifically is really nice. Also, when you're actually going to do a transaction, you have a new UI. So you can see this is the new UI in iOS 15. So just slightly different, but it looks more clean than it did in iOS 14. We also have some additional changes inside of the weather application, which did get redesigned here in iOS 15. It looks a lot better than it did previously, especially all the animations that you get up top. Now, if you tap on these three dots, or these three lines rather, in the bottom right, you will see that we have this new interface here for showing all of the locations you have saved inside of weather. It's a lot cleaner, and you could search really easily right there. You also have these three dots up top where you can edit the list. You have notifications, and of course you could change it between Celsius and Fahrenheit. And if you tap on notifications, you can see right here, you get this. And if you tap on the toggle for my location and tap on done, you will actually get alerts, weather alerts, when severe weather is headed your way, just like you got with dark sky, if you're familiar with that. So like if rain is about to start or a severe storm is about to start, you will actually get a push notification letting you know that it's actually about to happen at your specific location, which is really neat. And you will also notice going throughout iOS 15 that the location indicator up in the status bar turns blue sometimes. So if I cancel out of these and then go back into, let's just say, the App Store, you will see that it turns blue sometimes, whereas before it never turned blue. It would just always stay black like that. So that is a change. And while we're in the App Store, there is also a change in here I wanted to show you guys, which is really specific, but it is actually pretty cool and it's going to save time, and you're not even going to realize, how useful it is for you. But if you already have an application installed, it's actually going to skip showing these big screenshots for us. So like, for example, if I search for social media and if I go down, so of course I don't have any of these installed, but take a look at this. I have all of these installed, so it's not going to show me the screenshots for those. It's going to allow me to go down and show the screenshots for the ones that I actually do not have installed. So you can see, again, I have Twitter, so it's not going to show me the screenshots for that, but it shows the screenshots for every other application that I do not have installed. So again, Snapchat's right there in between, so it doesn't show me the screenshots and kind of advertise that because it knows that I already have it on my device. So again, just a small thing, but something that is going to be pretty useful and kind of save you some real estate and some space here inside of the App Store. Now, a very interesting thing I noticed here in iOS 15, and I don't believe this is in iOS 14, I've never seen it before, but when I couldn't join my network right here, I got a better explanation as to why I could not join the network. So it says, this network is operating on Wi-Fi channels in use by several other nearby networks. Restarting your wireless router may allow it to automatically choose the best channel to use and may resolve this problem. So I've never seen that before. I do believe that's new, but you can correct me in the comments if that's, in iOS 14 as well. But I thought that was pretty cool that it actually gives you an explanation as to why you're not able to join the network instead of just saying unable to join like it did previously. Now, also, if we go back into our settings and go to our iCloud, you will notice a change with iCloud right away, and that is that it shows your storage plan without actually having to tap on the iCloud little tab right there. So it shows 2 terabytes right there, whereas before it just didn't show anything and you had to go into iCloud to see how much storage you had. Now also, if you go into iCloud, you will see private relay and hide my email, which I didn't actually show in my initial coverage, but you can see private relay right there. And if you tap on that for upgrade, you can see it shows what iCloud Plus includes. If you tap on see other plans, it actually shows this for whatever reason. So I'm not sure if it's just bugged out or what, but I cannot do anything for private relay. As for hide my email, I was able to do this, and this is actually a really cool feature here in iOS 15. So it's not loading the first time, but there we go. So you can actually create new like burner email addresses essentially to kind of mask your own personal email address that you use for websites. You can tap on create a new address right here, and you will see that it will allow you to create a new email. It's gonna give you the splash screen right here as well. Now, I've also gotten some pretty interesting pop-ups here in iOS 15, and the first one is left behind alerts. So this is new in iOS 15 with the Find My application. So you can see when I left my house today, I got this right here that says, the 6S was left behind. Your device was left near, and it shows your address or wherever you left from. Tap to learn more. So it knew that my 6S was here for whatever reason, and I left and it was powered off or it ran out of battery. So it shows that I left that behind. So the left behind alerts are also new here in iOS 15. We also have a little bit of a change in the Find My application as well if I open that. So you can see that the map is just a little bit more alive here in iOS 15, just like the Maps application itself just looks better overall. And then also down at the bottom, you can see that the devices icon has been updated here in iOS 15 as well. The little glyph there in the menu bar has been updated and it looks better in iOS 15 as well. And then another interesting alert that I got after my phone hit 10% of battery remaining. So when my phone got to 10%, I got this notification, this little alert after that. So it says iPhone remains findable after power off. So it says Find My helps you locate this iPhone when it's lost or stolen, even when it is in power reserve mode or when powered off. So I guess it was telling me this just in case my phone were to die. It's telling me that it's still going to be able to be tracked by the Find My application. So you will get that pop up every time you hit 10% of battery remaining. And then also just a really minor change that I just noticed inside of the settings general iPhone storage section. If we go all the way down to the bottom, you will notice that this has changed at the bottom. So it used to be system and that is now iOS. Then it used to be other and that's now system data. So they flip-flopped. So system is now system data and other is now iOS. So that has changed there in the iPhone storage section inside of settings, a little bit more descriptive instead of just saying other and now says iOS. So I guess that's just the actual, firmware version, the software version, instead of just saying other. A lot of people have always been really confused by what other really means. And I also wanted to take a minute to talk about the spatial audio and lossless audio inside of Apple Music. So of course, when you go to an album, you will see these icons right there to indicate that it does have spatial audio and also lossless audio. Let me just say that both are absolutely incredible. So I listen to spatial audio on my AirPods Max and also my AirPods Pro right here, and it just sounds absolutely amazing. And actually, if we go into our settings right here and then go down to music, and then to Dolby Atmos. So this is a new section inside of settings, Dolby Atmos. You could turn this to automatic, always on, or off. And then also when you put an AirPod in, so if you put like an AirPod in your ear right here, then you go to the control center and haptic press right there, you will see the spatial audio down here in the bottom right, and that actually turns into something else as well. If you go into, let me just go ahead and play. So when you start playing music, it shows this down here, spatialize stereo. So that is some new verbiage there in iOS 15. You can turn that on or off. So yeah, obviously spatial audio is incredible, but lossless audio I think is very underappreciated. So if you go into your settings and then go to this right here, audio quality, and turn lossless audio on and have all of your streaming set to high resolution lossless, and you listen to that music on a good system. So like I have a Tesla Model 3 with the upgraded, audio system. And when I play high res lossless music in that car, it literally sounds like I'm at like a venue or like a concert. It is such good quality. It is so loud. It's very crisp. And I think that is very underappreciated. Not a lot of people are even talking about lossless, but it just sounds ridiculous when streaming. And really the only bad things I have to say about the music application here in iOS 15 are, number one, the HomePod to, or the AirPlay to HomePod feature works fine in iOS 15. It's definitely an improvement over iOS 14. You know, when I go to like the office right here and I start playing a song, it will actually play on the device and I won't have to go into the menu right here and go to it from there. So as you can see right here, it actually shows up. Whereas before in iOS 14, sorry for playing that in the background, it would not show up here on the now playing screen. I'd have to manually go to it. So that was really annoying. However, the thing that is still here, as you can see, when I go into the music queue, that first song is still missing. I cannot move it around. That's been a bug ever since, you know, for months now, back on iOS 14, and Apple has still not fixed that. Even though I've reported it inside of the feedback application, we've talked about it forever here on the channel, it is still not fixed. And also sometimes this is really laggy in here. So you can see there when I start tapping it, it's not too bad right now, but you can see it just doesn't catch up and it has a hard time really, you know, with these pressing these buttons right here. So that is also a complaint I have for this in Apple Music, but really everything I'm loving so far as spatial and lossless audio goes. And as far as Safari goes, this is something that actually I'm still trying to get used to. So this is something I thought after the first 2 or 3 days I got used to and I was fine with it, but still my natural instinct is to go to the top of the screen for like everything. So you can see I'm taking advantage of the shared with you feature, and actually shows at the top when you go to that link who it was shared from. So it keeps it up there at all times and you can X out of it right there. But yeah, so I'm still getting used to Safari. It is very strange. There are a lot of bugs in Safari, but I do love the interface overall. I'm, you know, a fan of it and I like the tab groups and things like that, but it is still taking me some time to get used to. My natural, you know, hand gravitates to the top of the screen instead of the bottom, especially when I'm looking for like a page to be loading. I always look at the top instead of the bottom, just based off of, you know, years of instinct of having that. So it will take time to get used to. And now, as far as other things I'm loving, the focus feature, I'm actually loving a lot. So this focus feature is really cool here in iOS 15. And I think it's just because I use this a lot in general. I use Do Not Disturb in general a lot on iOS 14, but focus is working really, really well. I've actually set this up to like recording a video, things like that, shooting a TikTok. That was just for an actual TikTok, which my link is down below if you guys want to follow me over there. But yeah, recording a video, I set that up and people can actually see when I'm recording a video inside of messages if they have iOS 15, that is. So you won't see that, you know, people on iOS 14 will not see the little text message notification that you are, you know, in a focus mode. But it's really cool. I've been loving focus a lot. And yeah, there are a lot of other new features and changes in iOS 15, and I will be covering more of those in future videos, especially a hidden features video I have coming up pretty soon within the next month or so. And of course, new betas will unlock new features and introduce new features as well. So be on the lookout for that. Just know there are a ton of new features and changes in iOS 15 and more to come as well. And hopefully new wallpapers. I know a lot of people want new wallpapers as well, which by the way, if you are a member, I will be posting a new wallpaper pack for you guys very soon. I have some alterations of this default wallpaper here as well, like flipped and, you know, turn different colors and things like that. But anyways, let's move on to the bugs in iOS 15 beta 1. And the first thing I want to talk about is perhaps, you know, what all of you guys are thinking as well. And that of course is with FaceTime. So the FaceTime application got a big facelift and a lot of new features added in iOS 15. So it is expected to have a lot of bugs, but it's been an absolute nightmare. And I talked about this over on Twitter as well. You can see I said FaceTime on iOS 15 beta 1 is a buggy nightmare and drains battery like crazy. And that's exactly my experience so far with this. Now, I have noticed that the main issue is actually with FaceTime videoing somebody with emojis in their contact name. So if you have somebody that you're FaceTiming and you have emojis, or they have emojis in their name in your contact list, remove the emojis out of their name and your experience will be better. It's still going to be buggy, but at least you'll be able to answer phone calls and hang up. I had just had really bad issues with the emoji being in the contact. I was not able to hang up. I was not able to, you know, get my camera to show up. It was just, you know, a pretty ridiculous experience. I actually had to tell the other person to hang up because I literally couldn't. I couldn't even close out of the FaceTime application. So that was really annoying. And it is pretty interesting because FaceTime audio doesn't have any issues at all, no matter what. Even if you have emojis in the name, it's only FaceTime video. And of course, inside of FaceTime, we have the portrait video right there, which looks really good. I have used this. It looks really, really good. We also have being able to mute your mic and things like that. You could do that before, but you get this little notification up top when your mic is muted. Now, we cannot screen share yet. We still are not able to screen share here in beta 1. That's probably going to be out in the public beta next month in July, which we'll talk about near the end of this video. Of course, we have all the effects and things like that. So FaceTime in general, I cannot wait for all the new features to be unlocked, but it is pretty buggy overall here in iOS 15 beta 1. Also inside of the phone application, I noticed that when you're in a phone call and you swipe up and you're doing something else on your phone and there's that little green indicator up in the top left, sometimes you're not able to press that at all. So the other person actually has to hang up because you can't hang up. You can't go back into the phone application after you leave it. So that is another bug I've noticed. So basically in FaceTime or the phone application, a lot of times you're not even able to hang up. So it makes it pretty awkward sometimes. Also, pulling down the control center while in an application is a very laggy and buggy experience. So it doesn't do this on every phone, but it's probably just because I don't have a lot on this device. But if I pull in my iPhone 12 Pro here, I'm just gonna do this raw. So I'm just gonna go into the first application I see. So Twitter right here. If I pull down, take a look at the lag there. Look at that. Look how long that took to show. So that is actually pretty crazy how laggy it is. If I go down, you can see very, very laggy and buggy experience here. I can't even go down in the control center sometimes. But if I pull down, when I'm on the home screen, it's fine. There's no lag, pull down the control center, whatever. But it's just when I go into an application and then pull down, look at the lag there. Look at that. I mean, it's like ridiculous how long it takes. It makes me feel like I'm on an ancient device, still not coming down. Look at that. I mean, what is this? So obviously it's a first beta. You're expected to see things like this, but I mean, look at this. This is actually freezing on me right now and I can't do anything. There we go, finally. So these are the type of bugs I'm saying to expect, and it can be pretty frustrating when it happens every single time. Also, I noticed that some of these widgets turn black when they're refreshing. So sometimes if you have like a weather application or photos, or especially files, I actually had to remove the files application because sometimes when it goes to refresh, it takes like 10 minutes and it'll just be all black. It will show just a blank icon there while it's trying to refresh the content inside. And that's a bug I've noticed with files and some other widgets as well. We also have some pretty weird bugs with messages. You can see there, they're just kind of, going over the photo. It looks really weird. I've also had a lot of issues with Safari. So you can see right here, I don't have an address bar or anywhere to type anything in. So I'm literally like clicking over, trying to find a way to get to the address bar, but there's nothing there. And also my keyboard disappears sometimes. Sometimes I can't even type in to the search bar right there. It's like when I go to search something, I just can't, and the keyboard goes away and it just erases everything I just typed. Also in Safari, if we go into landscape mode right here and go to the top, you can see that the little plus icon there is overlapping with the tab. And there are just some UI elements that just kind of cover up other tabs and just other parts of Safari and landscape mode. Definitely some refinement needed here when you go into certain things. And just as you're browsing around, you will notice, kind of some bugs, some UI bugs with the landscape mode inside of Safari. And also sometimes when you try to go to a new website, it's just really slow to load. So like if I go to this right here, sometimes sites just take a while to load for no real reason, and it has nothing to do with the internet. So of course there are bugs, again, expected with a new redesigned Safari, and hopefully those will be fixed in the next beta. Now I've also heard about some pretty major bugs with iOS 15 where some people cannot unlock their iPhone. They have to reboot their device because they simply cannot unlock their iPhone by swiping up. So like they type in their password or they put in Face ID, but they're not able to swipe up on their screen to get into their device. So I've not experienced that, but if you have, let me know in a comment down below. Also, one thing I just noticed before starting this video, I normally have Siri set my brightness for my phone, but you're not able to do that in iOS 15, it appears. So watch this. Change phone brightness to 30%. Look at that, it just says something is wrong, please try again. And I've tried this on every device. I've tried it when I'm connected to the internet, when I'm disconnected from the internet. For whatever reason, you're not able to change the phone brightness via Siri, and that may be a bug because you were able to do that in iOS 14. And then I've also seen people report that VPNs are not working on iOS 15 beta 1. So if you have a VPN, that might not be working. And also the private relay feature. So if we go into our iCloud right here and go to private relay, this may actually not be working nice with a third-party VPN. So if you have a third-party VPN, it could be kind of interfering with that and causing issues. Now, as far as connectivity goes, I haven't really had any issues with cell connectivity on iOS 15 beta 1, but I have had issues with Wi-Fi connectivity and with Bluetooth connectivity. So Bluetooth specifically sometimes just randomly disconnects. So this could be from my Tesla, this could be from my AirPods Pro, and I've actually seen a lot of you guys say that your AirPods Pro randomly disconnect as well. And sometimes the music just stops playing for no real reason. 1. I've had all those bugs with Bluetooth. And as far as Wi-Fi, sometimes it is just completely unresponsive and just it's very spotty. And I've noticed that it's mainly in Safari, so it could actually be that Safari bug I was talking about earlier where sites are just slow to load. But I have had some Wi-Fi issues as well where Wi-Fi just, cuts off and then goes to LTE and then cuts right back on like 2 minutes later. So just some minor issues with connectivity, nothing too major. I have had issues with the AirPods Max where there's like some stutter and kind of some crackling noises going on and I have to reset it, but that only happened one time, the very first day. So it could have just been an anomaly, but connectivity so far has not been the best, but it's also not the worst, especially because I haven't had any issues with cell connectivity, thank goodness. Now, as far as performance goes, performance has been surprisingly pretty solid on every device I've used it on. Now, yes, there are going to be several bugs throughout the OS, but it's solid for a first beta. I shouldn't say solid overall, but it's solid for a first beta. I haven't had a single random respring, which is actually pretty surprising. I haven't had one like random reboot or random respring throughout the entire week, and I've only had about 4 or 5 app crashes all week. So that's actually pretty good, I would say, for a first beta of a major release. But as I mentioned earlier, you are going to encounter a lot of UI bugs, and that kind of just takes away from the overall, solid raw performance that you get with iOS 15 Beta 1. So you're really always going to remember that you're on a beta build, which sometimes when you're on a stable beta, you forget kind of that you're on a beta, but you're not going to forget when you're on iOS 15 Beta 1 because there are going to be a lot of things throughout the OS that you're just going to notice are just kind of off. Now, as far as battery life goes, battery life has not really been very good on any device that I've used this on, including the iPad on iPadOS 15 Beta 1. So I'm losing about 2 to 3 hours on average of on-screen time on all devices. And on my iPhone 12 Pro, I've lost about 3 hours of on-screen time, which is very unfortunate. And again, it's the same story when I use any other device, although battery life on devices like the 7 Plus and especially like on the 6S, I lose like half the battery. It's actually crazy how much battery drain is going on with the older devices. But even on my 12 Pro here, if I go into my settings and into my battery right here, you can see the type of battery life I'm getting. Of course, this isn't really indicative of, the battery life. You can see a pretty steep decline there after I unplug my phone every single time. So not the best battery life at all here in iOS 15 Beta 1. And I've noticed that FaceTime video calls and even browsing in Safari both drain the battery quite a bit, more than they should here in iOS 15 Beta 1. And likely that's just due to the fact that they're both, dramatic changes here in iOS 15. But just overall, don't expect good battery life in iOS 15 Beta 1, really on any device. Even the top tier devices are not getting great battery life for me. So I would still say to stay away from iOS 15 Beta 1 for obvious reasons, but by the time public beta 1 comes out, you may consider installing it on your main device, but I usually say to wait until at least public beta 2 before installing it on your main device, especially because you don't want to be caught like at work or just in a pickle. What if you get in a wreck and you can't call somebody because you're having a bug on your phone? What if you can't call 911 because there's a bug inside the phone application? You really just don't want to run into issues like that when you really need your phone to be reliable. So I would recommend installing, at least, or waiting at least until public beta 1, maybe public beta 2. So now let's move on to the community poll. So this is where I get your guys' input. So I obviously have my own opinions and everything that goes on with my devices, but I like asking for your input because you guys might experience things that I don't experience. And this is a good basis for kind of understanding how iOS 15 Beta 1 is running for everybody. So I asked, how has iOS 15 Beta 1 been running for you so far? About 11 hours ago from the time of recording this, and over 10,000 of you voted in this. So thank you to everybody who voted. And you can see there, 12% said that iOS 15 Beta 1 is excellent with no major bugs and good battery life. 17% said good, just a few minor bugs. And then 8% said not so good, buggy and bad battery life. And 63% said they're waiting on the public beta, which smart for those people. And 200 comments right here. So we're going to go ahead and read through some of these comments as well to kind of see your guys' take on iOS 15 Beta 1 on your device. So you can see I asked first off, what's your most annoying bug you've encountered so far? And you can see here people are saying connection issues with the AirPods Pro and random resprings. And obviously annoying is a word that I don't really agree with a beta, because you're signing up for a beta, you're signing up knowing that there are going to be annoying bugs and things going on. So really, that's why I don't really complain about a beta. Of course, I say things about a beta that are bad because, that's what I do. That's my job. But I'm not going to complain about it because I understand that this is a beta and this is the reason that Apple has a beta before they push it out, because there are going to be bugs. So you can see here, FaceTime bug, Safari crashing and not opening. It's the most annoying of all things. Safari takes forever to load pages, but everything else is fine and stable. I thumbs that up because I've had that as well. And you can see here, somebody said that they're getting an hour back of battery life over 14.6, which is crazy. That's, rare, but really cool to see. Bluetooth connection issues, settings app crashing, AirPods connection issues, Apple Music freezing, Apple Watch keyboard pop-up. I'm not sure what that's about, but if you're having that, let me know. Apple Music delay when pressing next. I have seen that as well. FaceTime doesn't work. A lot of FaceTime issues in here. A lot of you guys mentioning the same things I've really been mentioning. And you can see assistive touch is bad as well, apparently, here in iOS 15 beta 1. Smart Tech here said that he installed it on his iPhone 7 and it's impressive for a first developer beta. Apps do crash sometimes, like YouTube and Netflix, and Safari has been buggy. Battery life is good, but drains a lot in FaceTime and weather. So he's having issues with weather as well when it comes to battery drain. Some notifications have been misformatted/cut off, and for some reason, a bunch of my contacts have been duplicated without the contact picture, which is one of the strangest things I've seen happen on iOS. So that is very strange. I've not seen that happen. It could just be, a conjoined thing with your iCloud account. I'm not too sure. The first day of installing, I had a few resprings and my battery was draining, but the day after that, my battery went right back to normal and there's been no major bugs. Loving it so far. So that is good to hear as well. Someone here is having an issue when they connect music to their car. When they transfer music to the car, it just says no info. So it plays the music, but it doesn't show any of the metadata, which is pretty interesting. Everything was really good except for FaceTime. And it says they're not able to swipe or accept the FaceTime call, which is very annoying. I agree on that. A lot of issues with FaceTime where you can't approve or join a call after somebody sends you a link. Just a lot of issues overall in FaceTime. Someone said downgraded today. Overall, the beta is definitely okay. There are quite a great amount of bugs. Battery life and overheating issues are killing me on the 11 Pro. So not even a bad or old device having overheating issues and bugs enough to downgrade. My Bluetooth doesn't work, so I can't use my AirPods, and the microphone modes don't work. So interesting. So Bluetooth doesn't work and the microphone modes don't work. So that is, of course, when you pull down the control center up top, you will see microphone modes. And I have tested that out and I've heard from others that basically just the normal mic mode sounds the best. So take that for what it's worth. And yeah, I'll just read one more comment here before we go ahead and move on. So Carson Noah here just reminded me of something. So he said, I've noticed a few bugs in YouTube and Spotify, but maybe the apps just need to be updated. So yes, I have had a lot of issues with YouTube not playing in the background after I answer a call or go into something with other media. When I go back to the lock screen, it doesn't play the music. And same with Spotify. I have had some issues there as well. Just testing it out. I don't have a Spotify subscription, but I have noticed some issues with Spotify as well. Also, he said that the battery overheats in certain applications such as the weather app, which that's actually exactly what happened on my iPhone 6S. And I talked about that in the video, which if you didn't see my video on the 6S, that's linked up in the cards. And basically he's just reiterating what I always say, that it's pretty good, but I wouldn't recommend updating. At least just wait until the public beta. So thank you to everybody who voted in this and left a comment. I did read every single comment here. So again, thank you to everybody who voted. Be on the lookout for the beta 2 poll, which will be up after beta 2 comes out. And I appreciate you guys for always voting in those. So now let's move on to what is next. So if we go into the calendar here and take a look at what's next. So we're in beta 1 right now, and I would not expect Apple to release beta 2 until the week of the 21st. So Apple usually sticks to a 2-week cycle when they first start a new release, like a first major release. So obviously iOS 15 beta 1 was released on Monday the 7th. So that means that the week of the 21st is likely when we can expect to see beta 2. Now, what's interesting is that Apple usually releases the public beta with developer beta 2 sometimes, but Apple said that the public beta is not coming out until July. Apple said that during WWDC. So if we're not going to get public beta until July, that means it could come on the week of the 5th right here, which would align with developer beta 3. So public beta 1 might be developer beta 3. And if we look right here, July 4th is actually a holiday in the US, 4th of July, and then the 5th is when it's actually acknowledged. If you click on this, it shows Independence Day and Observation Day for that. So Apple is likely not going to release it on the 5th. They would probably release the public beta on the week of the 6th. So they actually release public beta sometimes on Wednesdays or Thursdays. So I would expect it sometime on the week of the 6th right there, possibly even the week of the 12th for the public beta. But we should see beta 2 of iOS 15, most likely on the developer beta 2, I should clarify right there, developer beta 2, most likely on the week of the 21st, possibly even the week of the 28th. but I would not expect the public beta, again, Apple said it themselves, until July, most likely the week of July 6th. But yeah, guys, there you have it. That is my follow-up review of iOS 15 Beta 1. Again, there are a lot of other features and changes to talk about, which I will be telling you guys about in future videos, including a hidden features video I have coming up within the next month or so. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a very long one. There was a lot to cover, and I have a lot more to cover in my next follow-up video next weekend as well. I do these follow-ups every single weekend. So if you're new here, make sure you subscribe because I do these every single weekend for every new version of iOS. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. And of course, make sure you guys subscribe for a lot more iOS 15 coverage coming throughout the rest of this year. But anyways, guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.